We all know that Israel attacked Iran, and they not only attacked a lot of their proposed nuclear sites, they've also eliminated all of their scientists. They have been continuously bombing, and then obviously, Iran has been sending response missiles back, which hasn't been as nearly as successful as what Israel is doing to Iran. The Trump administration has basically warned Iran, and I'm bringing y'all up to speed, warned Iran and said, listen, don't touch one American or we will shut that whole place down and everything is going to be eliminated. On top of that, they kept prolonging a ceasefire, and now there's reports that saying that Iran is desperate for peace. Desperate for peace. Another thing that Israel has done is they have eliminated almost all of their military commanders, right? And the Iranian commander that replaced the one that was eliminated, he has recently been killed. And so Iran is now trying to find a new military commander because both top military commanders over in Iran, according to reports, have now been eliminated. All right, so I'm just giving y'all the news, and I'm just giving y'all an update on what's going on. I'm not an advocate for war. I don't like war, but this is currently what's happening. So let's bring y'all over. So first and foremost, reports are that Trump left the G7 summit to go over to the Situation Room to make sure that he let everybody know to evacuate over in Tehran and to strategize if anything was to ever happen to any American, what he would do.
Begin with the escalating war in the Middle East. Israel and Iran are trading attacks for a fifth consecutive day. Now, overnight, Israeli forces say they struck several military targets in western Iran and claim to have killed a senior Iranian military commander in the country's capital. This morning, Iran fired more retaliatory rockets into Israel, with the IDF reporting most of the 20 missiles launched were intercepted. Now, the escalating situation prompted President Trump to cut short his trip to Canada for the G7 Leaders Summit. We told you about this yesterday. Before departing, the president posted this warning to his social media profile, urging people to, quote, immediately evacuate Tehran. That is a metro area home to at least 13 million people, keep in mind. We've got team coverage on this for you this morning. CBS News Middle East reporter Courtney Keeley is here with me in Studio 57, tracking the fighting. But let's begin with CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand at the White House. Natalie, good morning to you. President Trump now back in Washington, but to do exactly what today?
Good morning, Errol. Well, the president is expected to be in the Situation Room here at the White House monitoring the latest developments. He was asked on Air Force One by reporters about his decision to return from the G7, and he said he wanted to discuss all of the developments in person, not have to rely on phone calls. He was also asked about that post that you referenced, urging people to evacuate Tehran. He says he just wants people to be safe. And speaking to reporters, he also said that he wants what he called a real end to the situation, to end with Iran giving up its nuclear program entirely. Before returning home, he had posted that he has not reached out to Iran for peace talks, calling that fake news. He goes on to say if they want to talk, they know how to reach him. In an earlier post, he said, reports that French President Emmanuel Macron said that he was returning to work on a ceasefire deal was not the case, saying that he wants much bigger than that. Now, when we got word last night that he was going to return to Washington, CBS reporting was, according to U.S. officials, the U.S. is not joining Israel offensively in its military operation. We know that the U.S. has been assisting in a defense capability, helping to intercept incoming missiles. But again, the latest reporting was that we were not going beyond that to join offensively. The president on the plane was asked if he's going to do anything more to help Israel. Here's what he had to say.
Pretty well. Remember, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. We don't have to go too deep into it. They just can't have a nuclear weapon.
Now, we know that Secretary of State Marco Rubio has also returned to Washington with the president, and his defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, has also posted last night that additional forces have been deployed to the Middle East to enhance the U.S. defensive posture, saying protecting U.S. forces is, of course, the top priority, Errol.
All right, Natalie Brand with the latest at the White House. Thank you for that. Let's bring in Middle East reporter Courtney Keeley now to talk more about this. Good morning, Courtney, and welcome back. With Iran and Israel continuing to trade attacks for a fifth day, how realistic is President Trump's position that the U.S. won't ultimately, at some point, get involved?
Right. He said bigger than a ceasefire, an end, a real end, not a ceasefire, a real end. Those are ominous words. Whether he meant them and to carry that weight or not remains to be seen. As we just heard from Natalie, there are defensive positions in the Middle East. You've got the Nimitz and another USS naval fleet ship coming in. You've got the THAAD and the Patriot missile battery packs to help aid Israel to shoot out those missiles that have been incoming from Iran. And you've got U.S. Air Force refueling planes that are also going to help Israel. So they're calling it defensive help for Israel, not necessarily.
That's my only problem with this whole situation. Obviously, I'm not a fan of war, and I understand that we have allies. But then at the same time, because of my misinterpretation or my misunderstanding of how much we love and support Israel, and again, if we just take it at surface value and we say, well, the reason that we support Israel is because of something like somebody that told me that, hey, they donated a lot of money, they help us. I know that there's some people in the chat that's always going to say, well, it's because, of the fact that, they're the Holy Land or something like that. I don't believe it has anything to do with the Holy Land. I don't believe it has anything to do with, how we view them from a spiritual perspective whatsoever, right? I believe that our allegiance to Israel has to be much deeper than anything that anybody has told me thus far. That's my own personal beliefs. And so as a result, because we are a supporter of Israel, and Israel is now at war with Iran, and they, basically have jumped into this war head first, and they want to completely eliminate Iran and basically take them off the map and remove them as a player in the world market from a military perspective, from a financial perspective, the whole 9 yards. Because of that, now I have to evaluate it differently, right? Because I'm not a fan, I'm not a supporter of war, and I understand it from both lenses. I didn't like all of the resources and the money that we were giving and military equipment and help that we were giving over to Ukraine. And I believe that that was a Ukraine problem. And so I didn't want any kind of money that was spent here in the United States of America on that. And I hold that same position when it comes to Israel. If Israel decides that they want to take them off a map, and now I understand Trump's position and that Trump is saying, hey, listen, we can't let them have a nuclear weapon. Agreed, 100%. I'm not sure how far they were. Nobody really knows how far they were away from developing a nuclear weapon, and not to say that they should have been anywhere near getting to the point of developing a nuclear weapon. But I'm not a fan of that either. However, two things can be true at the same time. Man, this sounds like an Israel problem. This don't sound like an Anton Daniels problem. Sound like an Israel problem. Don't sound like a United States of America problem. Sound like an Israel problem. Don't sound like American taxpayer dollars problem. But we are supplying them with resources and refueling planes and military defense capabilities and all of this stuff. And so unless Israel is sending a check over here saying, hey, we want to pay for this, because a true partnership, a true allegiance is there to be reciprocation, and you guys are giving us something in order for us to give you something. Unless I hear something about that, and I'm sure maybe something is playing out behind the scenes, unless I hear something about that, my position remains the same. I don't want to spend American taxpayer dollars on anybody else's war. I don't want to spend American taxpayer dollars on anybody else's war. So, I'm just consistent in that. I'm consistent in that. I think that American taxpayer dollars need to go to American taxpayers. And unless they somehow, some way financially compensating us for our allegiance to them and our partnership with them, I still don't see the benefit of us supporting Israel, regardless of the fact of if I know that Iran needs to be stopped. So it doesn't really matter about any of that. Two things can be true at the same time. Iran is a bad actor. I believe they've enabled a lot of what's happening across the world and has supplied a lot of the things. And I think that we should have kept sanctions on Iran long before Trump got back into office in order to prevent them from having any kind of financial capability of even, participating in helping other countries. Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, bro. I believe that a lot of people, a lot of countries have a hand in a lot of what's going on right now. 100%. Absolutely. 100%. I believe that there's a lot of factors at play here. Yep, you are right. I don't deny any of it. This is the moment, I believe. Here are some of the moments where the Iran state TV, basically what happened during a strike at this place. This is some of what happened.
The escalating war in the Middle East tonight, Israel and Iran, the death toll climbing on both sides. Israel targeting Iran's state TV live on the air, and you'll see the anchor running from the studio. And Iran striking apartment buildings in Tel Aviv. Multiple civilians have died. Our chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell on the scene in Tel Aviv tonight.
This is the moment Israel targeted Iranian state TV live on the air. The terrified anchor running for cover as smoke and debris filled the studio. The building up in flames. This reporter with bloodied hands rushing outside, blasting Israel's attack. The Israeli military claiming the station is at the heart of the regime's communications, saying residents were warned to evacuate. Israel also bombing Iranian F-14 fighter jets, claiming it now controls the skies over Iran. But the Iranians unleashing their own blistering missile barrage into the heart of Israel. Videos posted online showing deadly strikes on residential apartments, eviscerating parts of downtown Tel Aviv.
You can see the devastating impact of this Iranian ballistic missile strike. This was a residential apartment block, not a military target, and it's been totally devastated.
The pre-dawn attack leaving residents in shock.
The building shook. It was a big bang. It fell.
At least 24 people killed in Israel, more than 220 in Iran, in a deadly conflict that shows no signs of ending.
David, President Trump.
We are very blessed to be here in the United States. I'm going to keep saying that. Every day that I see stuff like this happen, every day that I get new footage of what's happening over in Iran and Israel and stuff like that, and the fact that we've never known this in our lifetime. All we have is historical moments and memories of what happened on Pearl Harbor and stuff like that, but we don't know what this looks like. And I know that we are very, very much involved, and we very much should be in the political process and what's happening and what concerned about what's happening worldwide. But man, look, I'm so thankful. We just wake up and we take this thing for granted. We wake up and we go about our day expecting for the street lights to work, expecting for the power to be on, expecting for us to have Wi-Fi, for your kids to be able to go to school. We go up there and we argue with the teachers. We do a lot of stuff, man. We just expect for everything to work, for us to have clean water, for our cars to be working, for the gas station to be there, and for the DoorDash driver to have your fries hot and on time. We don't know nothing about this life. We so spoiled. We are spoiled to know that is just happening. Apartment buildings is being bombed. Downtown is being hit. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Check this out. I want y'all to hear this also.
All right, to Fox News Alert, President Trump is back in Washington after cutting his time at the G7 summit in Canada short. The commander-in-chief saying he has not reached out to Iran for peace talks.
Meanwhile, more than 300,000 Iranians being warned to evacuate Tehran, the capital, as Israel's Operation Rising Lion intensifies, striking dozens of targets overnight.
We have live team coverage. Mark Meredith is at the White House tracking the administration's response.
Heated floors.
But first we go to Mike Tobin. He is live in Israel and Tel Aviv as the Israelis assess damage from Iranian missile strikes to military and civilian targets. Hey, Mike.
Hi there, Ainsley. The Iranian missile barrages are...
What's wrong with his forehead? Why is it so long at the top? Got that long face. I don't know what that is.
...of every day and night. An Israeli military spokesman now says some 400 Iranian missiles have been fired at Israel.
Is he room 9? I know he's not room 9 in his ability to communicate, and I don't want to get distracted here because, you know, we got the Millionaire Distraction Show. Got that thick neck, that long head. How can you get your neck thicker? Is it a way for you to get your can you work out your neck? That strong ass neck. Got a short, strong neck and a long head.
What we saw in the overnight hours, however, was instead of the usual hundreds of missiles coming at Israel, what we have seen since the start of Operation Rising Lion, about 20 came last night. 4 missiles got through, hitting in the town of Herzliya, which is just north of Tel Aviv. One of them set a bus on fire in a parking lot. Another set a structure on fire. But no injuries reported thus far. Meantime, an Israeli official says the IDF is not done hitting targets inside Iran. Yesterday, the Iranian state TV building was burning after it was hit by an Israeli strike, a hit that happened while they were live on the air. Israel also says Iran's wartime chief of staff was killed. Ali Shadmani was his name. He was the most senior military commander closest to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. But he only had the job for 4 days. He was appointed after his predecessor was killed in the early days of Operation Rising Lion.
Yeah, I don't want that job. I'm good. How you become the newly appointed wartime chief of staff and the new military, Iranian military leader, and you only got the job for 4 days. So the original people got killed on the first day of bombings. You came in on you know what I'm saying, right after that. You know what? We need a new military leader, and you get nominated. And now you dead too? Nah. I'm good. I'm good. Count me out. Keep me in the United States of America nice and safe. Nice and safe. That's why I have so much respect for our military. People be disrespecting our military. The reason why we are so powerful. They say, hey, we shouldn't have this much of military spending. You a lie. You a lie. You can't put a price on my safety. No, we shouldn't have this much of military spending. Yes, we should. Forget these government programs. Forget the social programs. I don't care about food stamps. I don't care about welfare. I don't care about none of that. Grow your own food. Go to Aldi's. Do whatever you got to do. You can't put a price on the peace of mind and safety that we have. And often at times we take it for granted. That's why we salute the people that's the Navy. They be on these submarines for days and months at a time. Astronauts, military, armies, SEALs, Air Force, all of that stuff. Man, nah, man, I salute y'all. I got you. Police officers, National Guard. I salute every last one of y'all because y'all have allowed for me to be able to be comfortable in my studio, getting rich every day. I could build houses. I ain't got to worry about them getting bombed. I can go live in my apartment. I can go live in the suburbs. I can do everything I want to do. We don't have no restrictions. We up here whining and complaining. They military leader just got killed 4 days on the job. I ain't got to worry about that. Oh, really, Cartier? That's crazy. Yeah, astronauts, 100%. So astronauts don't play a role. So our satellites being in the air, you ain't never heard of what did Trump call it? He said Space Force. The Space Force. We are now controlling the satellites in the air, which has allowed us to be able to make strategic decisions and get certain positions everywhere. You ain't never heard of the Space Force that Trump mentioned in his first term? You don't think that astronauts play a huge role in what's happening in the new phases of war? It's not just being on the ground. It's not none of that. What do you think that GPS coordinates and all of that stuff come from? Yes, astronauts. 100%. 100%, yes. I think that matters. I don't know. Maybe I'm off. Maybe they aren't as important as we think that they are.
We still do not know who will be the substitute's replacement. I would advise anyone who is offered the position to consider carefully. If he agrees to take it, he is advised to be extremely cautious.
And that same Israeli military official says that 10 Iranian scientists essential to Iran's nuclear program have been killed since the start of the operation. Ainsley?
Right. Mike, you showed the video of the Iranian state TV, and we saw that blast while the lady was anchoring. She was.
Chris B says no human has left low Earth orbit since 1972. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.